Welcome, comrades. We come here today on the third of the three series of massacres that came from the massacre of the 27th. We have spoken initially of the massacre of the 27th of May that occurred in 2019 on the 27th. On the, was it the 1st of June, 3rd of June? My memory is, I think it was the 3rd of June. We did the um what's it the stream for the Marxist Leninists that had been massacred when they came over. Was it from California? I think to investigate the thing, to investigate this struggle. And now we're talking about the Lenin-Mao Communist Union, which were the communist union that helped out these Marxist Leninists when there was only one survivor. Um, but what's it? This is the third discussion where we talk about what ended up happening to the great comrades of the Lenin-Mao Communist Union when they helped out the Bundist and Marxist-Leninist comrades who had survived this massacre, and when they did their research into it. First, we're going to go into the Lenin-Mao Communist Union as to what they are. Then we're going to look into the research they did and the evidence that they have provided about the massacre. To which, um, what's it? We will discuss about all the things relating to the synagogue itself, the massacre itself, what went down, what Midnight Productions is, and really grounding down the situation in a very similar way to Jason's video that I re-uploaded on my channel earlier this day. Um, but first things first, as we've done with all of the streams, where's my phone? So I always put the timer on to get it perfect. We'll do another 2 minutes of silence as we always have. Um, Rest in power, blessed comrades. May you walk the fields of Elysia where all great heroes go to die. Onwards. It is through great peril that it is so hard to find solidarity for the loss of comrades who fall. All these people in the first world that claim they care for revolution, that their mentality to those whom struggle for the people, they're treated in a demonizing fashion. They disregard what these people do and will ignore literal massacres committed by armed Nazis working with the Fez because it suits them to demoralize and dehumanize the struggle of African native Turtle Island people and Jewish people and anyone who is seen as a goddamn immigrant, even though Americans in general are all fucking immigrants. They're immigrants on native land that they decided to just steal. The Lenin-Mao Communist Union was very pro-lumpen. Absolutely, absolutely. Their commitment to the lumpen is absolutely shown in the way that they sacrificed their lives to protect Jewish and African comrades from Nazis and to try and find out what these Nazis had done to our comrades, and they got a mark painted on the back of their heads. You know, they absolutely risked tooth, bone, and nail for our brothers and sisters. I should switch places with these, it'll be easier on the reading. I don't want you. No, don't want you. There you go. Okay. Oh yeah, because live streams don't automatically post to my server. I'll go share this because. Okay, I'll do it in a bit. Lenin-Mao Communist Union. This is written by Parker. It's the It to be confusing. It is the second link, not the first link, because um, I am well prepared for everything. I promise. Um, Trust me, okay. I promise. I'm definitely always well prepared and don't screw up on my optics a lot. All the people that saw the way that I got the title wrong on the last stream might be just like, yeah, sure. I am spot on with my process. I promise. That's exactly why I could not edit videos for shit and stream all the time. um, Humor's the best medicine for depressing and grieving situations, in my opinion. So I'm always trying to keep a balance of trying to push in some light stuff to drive the serious stuff in without having to keep people stuck in a horrible position. Rest in power, comrades. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Respect, social henshin, and thank you for the solidarity. It's beautiful to see. The Bundists love absolutely a bit of solidarity that they get, and as a Maoist, it's beautiful to see solidarity from my Lenin-Mao commune comrades who were very proto-Maoistic in their process of supporting the lumpen proletariat and from very Pantherite code. They did what they could to help our lumpen comrades, and absolutely their sacrifice will not be in vain. The Bundists who have survived, the Panthers the Maoist and Demarchist native comrades. These people hold these people's sacrifices very close to heart and will advance the struggle forward based on their sacrifices. Panther Code terrifies people like Caleb because it's the real, true, hardcore Panthers that's coming back, not the soft, disarmed Panthers of the 80s that he really likes. This is pure pure pantherism, like, straight from the fucking apple tree, but not in the sense that they're just copying. They're advancing. They're looking at what did the Panthers do right, what did the Panthers do wrong, and they're pushing it forward. But they're core to the principles of what the Panthers rose up upon, which is lumpen proletarian struggle. Looking at it from the street, looking at it as, okay, well, intellectuality comes from many different places. The organic intellectual is prime and important, and that the lumpen proletariat is much more tied to the third world proletariat, and these people were very serious. On a very serious note, we can see focusing on the lumpen proletariat struggle and upholding the lumpen proletariat as revolutionary, as truly revolutionary line. We don't see this level of, I'll wait for your next bit, but you're absolutely hitting it so fucking right. We don't see this level of reaction against parties like CPUSA or PCUSA. Hit the nail on the head. When you avoid the lumpen proletariat and you stick into this first world like notion where they attach themselves to the upper proletariat and the labor aristocracy, you make yourself inert. You center yourself around the ballpark of either neoliberalistic individualism or Kaiseristic fascism, which both rely on this very Greek humanist style of individualism that was advanced by Victorian humanism and Rooseveltian intellectualism. Uh, it's they know what they're doing when they do this. Not all the people in the party, but the people ruling this shit, the people leading this shit, they know what they're doing. The petty bourgeoisie, their class consciousness is long already organized. The petty bourgeoisie are acting in reaction against lumpen proletarian class consciousness, and the fact that the lower working class tends to side with us more than them. And the Lenin-Mao Communist Union, this is one of those parties that got a red cross on their back from the beginning, that they started espousing love for the lumpen proletariat. Because as soon as you do that, especially in this area of Arizona, because the lumpen proletariat are actively preyed upon in some of the worst of ways by the police. The police always prey on the lumpen proletariat, but in Arizona it's really bad. And so when you side with the lumpen proletariat, you get a big old X on your back from both the feds, the lumpen petit bourgeoisie, and the petit bourgeoisie, and the labor aristocracy, and they all come at you from different angles because they've all got some connection to midnight productions. Not all of them in general. I used an absolution there. I do apologize, but you know what I mean. Like, so many of them are connected to these things, and if they're not, they at least know people who are complicit. So that they're all either very hush or very aggressive. You go on two tones. But either way, like, the anti-Semitism in Arizona is nasty as well. But you speak to any honest communist in Arizona, and they'll tell you the police are massively corrupt, massively white supremacist, like Nazi white supremacist, like not even like exaggerating Nazi. Like, there's a literal party called the Nazi part. Sorry, the National Socialist Americanist Party. The Lenin-Mao. Oh, sorry, wait. There's a lot of lumpen in Arizona, and they generate a lot of profits. Just think of all the illegal migrant workers. Oh yeah, and so you both have like the illegal migrant workers, but you also have the fact of like lumpen petit bourgeoisie and lumpen bourgeoisie are well known for enslaving people, especially people who are in debt to them. But that's how a lot of people have to get over into the country, as they get enslaved by a rich member of the lumpen, and they become they get a free ticket into the country. You know, they get over the border, and then they have to work as a slave for sometimes decades. My grandfather was a reactionary Baptist preacher in Arizona in the 70s, 80s, and he literally got kicked out of his church for not being reactionary enough. That sounds like Arizona. That sounds absolutely like Arizona. It's only got worse since then as well. Like Kwame Ture was right. Like things since the civil rights movement has not got better for the lumpen. It's gotten worse. Because of the lumpen petty bourgeoisie work with the petty bourgeoisie and oppressing the lumpen. They're both very fascistic. Their class consciousness has them kind of joined. Like the point where we get like the lumpen proletariat as a joint consciousness with the proletariat. It's the same point with like the lumpen petty bourgeoisie. They share a consciousness with the petty bourgeoisie, and so they organize more because the class is starting to have more friction amongst each other because of the deterioration of imperialist hegemony. The US has lost its hegemonic position, so everyone's fighting for hegemonic place, but that causes class friction as well as imperialist friction. Imperialism is innately tied to the class structure, because the class structure is the base of all things in the socio-economic structure of society. Eh, Nearly said that was but you know what I mean. Um, Yep, I was going to mention the slavery. It's something that is simply not discussed outside of leftist circles, and only limited leftist circles as that. The problem with the left is that they're so ignorant to the lumpen proletariat. The only time they ever speak of them is where they're like, we could turn them into something proletarian, we could raise them up. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? These people are ready for revolution. They don't want to be brought into the system. What the fuck? That's literally what they're saying. They want to bring us into the system so that we can do reformism with them. And it's like, what the fuck? Like you look at like the most radical and revolutionary people, and you're like, do you know what we need to do? Inclusion. That's the same thing they did with the civil rights movement to black people, and what they become. It became inclusion of black people in the middle class. As Kwame Ture pointed out, African American is sort of split like this. If you're lower class, you're treated in the racist archetype of an African, and if you're middle class and upper, you're treated as like someone you've become successful enough to be an American, and it's a way of allowing the cultural genocide of those who still hold on to their African culture that does exist. Albeit what Americans will try and say about it, it's all dead, it's all dead. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Where the fuck do they think rock and roll and blues come from? There's a mixture of African musical culture combined with Baroque culture. You know, people like Mozart. So when you see people diss African music and they try and be like all lofty about their classical, you know, a lot of African music in America, African American music, New African music, is a mixture of people like Mozart who hated aristocrats and loved the poor, which is why a lot of people in the colonized struggle, when they listen to classical, they like Mozart because Mozart was anti-aristocrat, and African music, like native African music. And so when you see all these like Pat Socks turning around and dissing music that ain't classical, trying to call rock or rap or anything like that, hip hop, racket, soul or anything like that, they're dissing like the one of the most beautiful synthesis of music ever. When you take the radical anti-aristocrat music of Mozart and you mix it with the soulful music of Africa, you get three of the best cultural genre points of ever existence, like big musical cultural genres. Rock and roll, fucking and I'm including like blues and all that in that as well, because blues is a form of rock and roll. So like I'm not like separating them, like blues, jazz, all that. That's a form of rock and roll that all comes from the African people. Blues, hip hop, and soul. These things were the most beautiful cultural musical genre points to come out in the last 200 years. I don't think anything's topped it. Like big genres, you know, the West tried to just co-opt it all the time. Like everything that they did was never original. They always just took African music and made shit versions of it. Other than like the proletarian music, which was just like in line with it. They looked at what the Africans were doing and took inspiration from it rather than just ripping it off to make profits. Like things like thrash metal and new wabum and things like that was all based off of heavy blues, which was an African American musical style in the late 50s, early 60s, which was the original metal. The only reason metal got a different name was because it was started by steelworkers and was slurred as metalheads and headbangers and clangy music. Like there was a way of slurring them off, and eventually the name stuck because it's a badass name, so people started using it. you know, it's like how people tried to call punk rock punks. You're a bunch of punks. They're like, yeah, we are punks, and they took it on, and it became a common thing. It wasn't the original name of it. It was just rock, but they were slurred for the style that they went with. And punk rock. When I say rock, African punk rock was started by a man called Death. No, not the death metal band Death. The punk rock band Death, which was I think it was three. It was over three or four black. There's three black dudes. Um, and it's some of the. It's not just the original punk. It's the original hardcore punk. They didn't just start punk. Like it's not like the Ramones crap. Like it's proper fucking hardcore working class punk, and it's so fucking based. Like you go pick up some Death, man. You know. Blues, rock, rap, hip hop, not the same thing. I know what you're on about. Yeah. There's an intersect between rap and hip hop, but there's also different things as well that are called rap and hip hop. Like they cross over, but you're absolutely correct. Rap and hip hop has different things. Hip hop is like the big daddy to it all, though. Like it's where it all comes from. Um, and rap itself is so diverse that you could separate the different forms of rap because rap is such a massive like qualm of uh like like one person I heard call it warrior poetry, and I thought that was pretty blessed, like for rapping. But rap, hip hop, soul, hell, even country, blues, grass, all have roots in the American African population. So what's quite interesting, country is originally so the style of country that's really common and popular is from Cymru, or what people typically call Wales, Ireland, North England, and sorry, Scotland. And so it's a sort of blend of those different country styles, and there is a bit of a Southern English influence as well, but it's not. It's more Cockney when it comes from those regions. Um, that core basis of country style was then taken by African slaves, and they mashed it out into what is seen as like into country western that was seen in America, and the Americans just went and robbed it off them. Not entirely. They did do a lot of it themselves too, but a lot of it was just stolen too. I think it's a bit of both. There's a lot of native Turtle Island influence on American country western as well. Um, a lot of Tejan and Arizonan country western singers were part native. Um, and a lot of Mexican country singers are native too. Mexica. But yeah, no, like it's amazing how much of well basically like all of the 20th century music was invented by that a fusion of Britain is just a fusion of like like Southern English and Scottish Highlander culture the way I see it. Like it's a colonial identity. It's more like I like to separate it, but no, I will appeal to your joke because you are doing the big quotation British because as I know it's a pseudo thing, so I'm just being an autist and over clarifying when uh, I'm gonna stop being a douche. The Lenin-Mao Communist Union did not fail to save the quote lost, confused lumpen proletariat end quote as they called them. That's such a petty bourgeois labor aristocratic way of looking at it, but I understand when people make mistakes like that. And some of us are lost and confused. They're not wrong entirely, but like it just seems like an absolute, in my opinion. Like the banjo was originally an African instrument. Yes, you are correct. The banjo is originally an African instrument and it was stolen through the slave trade. Like a lot of culture was stolen. Like they copied a lot of shit. Um, Anglo-Saxon genocidal tendencies were very assimilative, so they stole as much as they killed as they destroyed. They did the same with India, and a lot of Africa that weren't involved in the slave trade of the Atlantic slave trade, and were instead involved in the African slave triangles as well. Because I mean, here's a big problem as well. We always talk about the Atlantic Triangle, but why aren't we talking about like the slave trade that happened within Africa itself between all of our different colonial holdings and the slavery of India, the slavery of all these different places? Like no matter how much worse Atlantic Triangle could be, it is not the only big slave trade that we should be talking about. We should be talking about all of it. Dion Johnson was murdered the same day George Floyd out here in Arizona. A wake up call. But did the aristocracy really wake up, or did they just use it as a way to push anti Trump politics for a bit and then they went down as soon as Biden was elected? Because, like, I'm really lost on this, man. The lumpen proletariat are, quote, lost and confused, end quote, in the same way the regular proletariat are. Uh, you always fire with the greatest fucking shit, my brother. Like, oh my god, Henshin, like, absolutely spot on. Like, I love this. They are not especially lacking class consciousness compared to the enfranchised proletariat. No, absolutely. You speak waves to my lumpen proletarian heart. Absolutely. Oh man. The struggle is what solidifies our mindset and regards to seeing things for how they are. So it's so easy to appeal to lumpen proletarians on what's going on, showing them what happens. I mean, I've spoken with like really old, like 70, 60, 70-year-old miners who lost their job because of Thatcher. And when they've come out with like, oh, the immigrants are stealing our jobs, in one sentence, I've had them turn around and self-criticize themselves by going, no, I ain't having that. You know what happened. Margaret Thatcher and Tony Blair further on sold your jobs away to the third world, to the comprador capitalists, to empires like China as well. They sold your jobs off. You can't blame the fucking foreigners for moving here if our jobs are being sold off by our own national corporations. That is, and instantly they're like, yeah, do you know what? Absolutely, you're right. I was offended because they're not trying to. A lot of these people aren't trying to be racist. Interestingly, you'll find that like the early Gen Xers are the more racist compared to them and the Boomers. When in my experience, like most Boomers I know, they're more like immigrants are stealing our jobs than they are like outright racist. Because I mean, the Boomers were the ones who supported the civil rights movement. It was the Gen Xers that shut it down. Well, the Gen Xers and the late Boomers, because the late Boomers are bad as well. But like so you're looking at like the 53 to 60, 69, 70, more like 74, 75. So the 63 to 75 lot, they're your bad lot. They're the worst of the worst when it comes to sort of like political positions, in my opinion. Like I think generationalism is bunk. But when you look at like the effects of McCarthyism, that's where it's had its largest effects, is that 20-year period. 55 to, well, sorry, 53 to 75. I have been lumpen more than once myself. Nothing will wake you up more. I speak from experience, especially like not just going lumpen itself, but going homeless. When you go homeless, that is the biggest wake up call in your life. You really, really see everything that you've done as a mistake for what it is, and really look back on it all. And it's why that's what paralyzes a lot of people in drinking. But you also get slapped around the face as to what's going on for other people, and you're forced to work with other people to survive, and you build solidarity in that sense. There was like I think it was 7 or 8 of us. We all stuck together and we all had each other's back. It was a nice little lumpen family for a bit. Made sure we all had shelter, made sure we all had food, made sure we all had water, made sure we all had fucking smoke, both cannabis or tobacco. The one guy who was always drinking, we made sure he had his drink because it helped him out. I am culturally lumpen. I hate beds. I like houses falling apart because it makes me strong, and the roof is a roof. I absolutely feel that. Do you know when you get off the streets and you lose the sense of purpose because you're always in the struggle when you're on the streets. You're always like fighting. So at the end of the day, you always feel like you have beaten something. But especially with my disabilities, like when I'm holed up, it it just feels nasty, especially with my hospital injury now because I can't just be like, oh, we'll go out in the wilderness for a bit every now and then because my hospital injury makes that a nasty process. I need to get that sorted. So like I'm in like limbo. Like I'm in the limbo inside limbo, and it's not nice. Once I get the hospital injury sorted, though, hopefully I'll be more functional again. That I can start more frequently going out and about because I want to start camping more often to keep myself in the wilderness. So I'm constantly keeping my mind on the game of struggle because it's all about conscious mindset and how you're thinking, and I can't be holed up. But when I move up north and I start getting myself a better basis and I get people who can work with me, I can start a food bank system sort of thing, food parcel, feed the people program, and other Pantherite programs, and hopefully get moving from there. But first, I want to get myself on a bit of ground basis so I'm more secure in the way that I feel about myself and the way that I'm engaged with society. Doesn't mean all white lumpen proletariat are not racist. Definitely doesn't mean they're all anti-racist. But it seems they, quote, see the light, end quote, sooner and easier. It's easier to show it to them is more like the thing. Like, a lot of lumpen white people, when they first turn lumpen, because a lot of them come from, like, the upper proletariat and the labor aristocracy, they start off racist. But what I seem to notice is most, like, lower proletarians are already being challenged on their racism before they become lumpen pro. So, like, they have to think about it. And most people who start lumpen pro from the start are either really racist or really not. And it's very black or white because they've made their decision. I am kind of a lumpen aristocrat. My class is hard to place, but I hate being called myself that. I see myself as lumpen. I understand that struggle, but that is not dialectically correct. But it is a cultural thing for me. Poor man life is righteous. So here's the thing with lumpen aristocrats: they share a lot, if not sometimes almost all of the material conditions of the lumpen proletariat. It is a slight position relating to their class inference, usually based on their capacity to deal, you know, drugs and make profit that way. Because I mean, marijuana dealers, for example, are some of like the least profiting lumpen aristocrats. Because if you're just a guy who's selling apes and ballers and shit, I said the same weight then. Ballers and fucking quarters and ounces. You're not pushing enough to make massive profits, so you end up being a lumpen aristocrat who makes the same as like a lower worker. I mean, fair enough to you. The grind's the grind, in it, but like you always get that one like upper lumpen aristocrat or lumpen petty bourgeois always take, oh, you need to be moving the sniff or something like that, or they'll try and get you selling fucking smack and crack on the side to people. Black lumpen power. Oh yeah, the black lumpen are the ones who show the way. They've always led the struggle, haven't they? Though, I mean, like in the 70s and the 80s, even over here, it was the black lumpen that were really speaking up, and 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 the white labor aristocracy and petty bourgeoisie for the last 30, 40 years have been trying to wipe away the civil rights movements of the black people in this country because of how dominated it was by black lumpen women and black lumpen men. comrades of the struggle, absolute legendary brothers and sisters. I have too many homeless brothers and sisters, too many homeless friends, G. I have to stay close to them. That is, God bless to that. Once you're a brother and sister to the people in the streets, once you've been in that position, it don't end when you are true to those people, when you are true to that principle, when you're true to that struggle. You don't, you know, you don't leave the streets leaves you. You know how it is, like, and you haven't left the streets, and the streets hasn't left you. So you kept that unity. Don't let it leave you. Stay true to that comrade because that is what keeps you in the right lines of struggle and holding true to the right principles and following the lumpen proletariat who are commanding our MLM theory forward. Comrade number 3 will not let the civil rights movement die, but damn, stop calling yourself fourth positionists. I feel you, I feel you. It's just one of those complications. You know how it is. I know you know how it is. Alright then, so the Lenin-Mao Communist Union was a urban communist vanguard militia. This is coming from the perspective of Pockeral, so it's gonna say things from the personal perspective. It's not coming from my personal perspective. It's coming from Pockeral's, just to really lament that. Black lumpen were crucial in the communist struggle of the 30s in the USA. I hate when Paxox talk about this period and like as the white Australian. They talk about the 50s and they only go on about like how the Trotskys ruined it. It's like, yeah, but what were the black people doing, Caleb? Organizing? Kwame Ture, or Stokely Carmichael at the time were organizing with Malcolm X and organizing with Martin Luther King. Hmm? 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 The start of the Nation of Islam. Like, Mandem is a lying little bastard. He only talks about the Nation of Islam when it was taken over by Louis Farrakhan. Think about that. He ignores the most revolutionary period of the Nation of Islam and only talks about them when they turned into fucking CIA, no, sorry, FBI controlled fascists. Or, well, I wouldn't go as far as to use that strong of a language, but they basically were, you know what I'm saying? They stopped, to be honest, you know, I will. They killed MLK. Sorry, not MLK. MLK? Sorry. That's gonna be a soundbite. They killed Malcolm X. Fuck's sake. On point. I like I said, I got the brain of a motherfucking donkey on opiates. Someone's messaging me. I don't know. Lion Oxwell Lucas. But not just that, but like I mean, like think about like so they always give when they give the credit to who allowed black people into struggle, they always give it to the Super USA, but like allowed, that sounds very domineering and controlling. That doesn't sound like a very nice and inviting way of talking about it. And also, it was actually Eugene Debs who was the first sort of American white communist to be like, "Yo, why are we excluding black people?" Question mark. And he was thrown in prison. But also, Eugene Debs is used by these people the same way Bernie Sanders does, just to talk about him as like he liked socialism, guys. Thumbs up. When Eugene Debs specifically criticized Caleb as as a sewer socialist, someone not to be trusted. And like he campaigned specifically against sewer socialism. He thought like trying to be elected as a president was stupid. He didn't run in the elections to be elected. He ran in the elections to get his name about the country and got arrested for it because he was anti-World War One. I get it. I know the full and confusing history of that word. Yeah, it's a horrible situation. with the weird ways in which socialism has been so exclusionary towards Bundist and other socialist groups like Islamic socialists. Um, so speaking from the context of Pokhara again, my position in the Lenin-Mao Communist Union was the Minister of Information. Our headquarters, I say these? I mean, I've posted the blog, so I guess I can. Was at 6048 W Bellany Home Road, Glendale, Arizona 85301. These people aren't in Arizona anymore, so I guess this doesn't have a problem at this point. I mean, they posted it in a blog for fuck's sake, so I guess not. Fucking Sandfly, get out my ear. Wait, you little shit. Sorry, I'm just filling the air with mist of bleach to kill these little no-see-ums. You know, if it suffocates me, it suffocates them. What? Yeah. Oh wait, no, wait, what? Oh yeah, so I got sandflies. So like, if you see me doing that, it's because I'm crushing them in my fucking nose, and like they get in my ear. They try and get in my mouth, like the little fuckers, and they bite all my fucking legs up and my arms. And it's only the females that are bite little bastards. I mean, Luke mentions it in one of the. I think it's in the Falcon and the Angles. No, it's in the message from the MRN urgent message or whatever the name was. Um, where he goes on about the fact that I'm dealing with sandflies. Sandflies is a colloquial name, or no-see-ums, but the collar Latin word, or Greek. I don't know, but it's some tiny little 1 to 3 millimeter fucking insect that motherfucking only the females are bitey bastards, but they're bitey bastards. They're all little bitey bastards. Fucking fucking biting me right now. Hey, hey, hey. CPUSA failed because the white communists failed to show solidarity with the American Africans. They didn't kick the border rights out or leave with Hayward and co. Yeah, that and like the natives and loads of white and black Americans are ready for revolution because of the Dust Bowl famine, and they basically like got them all under their wing and was like, no, 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 guys, don't do that. Support Roosevelt. He's gonna give you loads of rights, and he gave the natives the right to own private property. Yeah, you allowed them to be capitalists. That's not really right so much, is it? It's just beneficial for the system. And they, like what, like the right to work. Oh well, we all know the oppressive natures of the right to work under capitalism. So that's not even an entire win. It just stops them from being abused as illegal labor. But you know, they were ready to actually fight for socialism, and that was probably the last time white Americans had the chance to do like the whole new America shtick. Like natives were willing to do the whole new America shtick. That was the last chance that they were given by the natives. In my opinion, wrongly so. But I've got to give so much credit to the natives. Like, how many fucking chances have they given like Anglo Saxons? Like, come on, man, we can just, you can be here. Just know with the raping and pillaging and the murdering, we can be chill and peaceful. And then every time they say chill and peaceful and we can be respectful, they do a massacre or they sell them out or they sign a treaty using language that's either like vague in the sense of the modern context or was literally a language that these native people didn't speak in the historical context. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like the history keeps repeating itself for this shit, and so the natives like, yeah, you know what? Like, if we're doing this, you guys can live here under a native nation because we're not doing this no America crap anymore. Fuck that. I'm giving you all this chance, all this try. You can fuck your browders and fuck your everything. We ain't doing this crap, and they're basically like, laid it as it is. The Native American patriotic socialism that needs to come forward, where the natives have control over their land again, and the white people act like the immigrants that they are, and respect the laws of the native land like you would if you moved anywhere in any country. Yeah, they've lived here for certain generations, sure, but they're not native to the land. Like, they should have the right to vote because they've lived there for a bit, but, like, they shouldn't just have, like, oh, yeah, it's gonna be their land, their control. No, 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 no. That they can participate in the society if they respect it and they don't get removed in the decolonization process for being, against the native people. Because that's the only reason why anyone would ever be like removed from the system. They'd only be sent home. Like, and that will only happen if you were a problem. Like, if you were like actually a threat to people in a sense, but it wasn't you weren't such a problem to the point where it was worthy of like taking your life away or something. So you send them home, let the let the French or the English deal with their own problems. It's completely and totally twisted upside down. Under settler colonialism, the settlers view themselves as having the right to control the land, and the native population as illegitimate. Absolutely, they spin the whole situation on their head. And then it's like when they turn around and call Mexicans immigrants when a lot of them are native Mexica. And it's like, how are Mexica immigrants to land that's theirs? Like, especially if they're like moving into Texas or Arizona, which is, got historically Mexica regions to it. So it's like, what is your point, America? Immigrants? No. Natives, yes. And it's like, there's some really, really fucked up with the way that this whole shtick is organized with the U.S. society. I know that's plain and obvious to see, but it seems to be completely being undermined by these pat socks, by the way that they just brush history off as history, yet accuse Jason of not being strictly historical materialist when like Caleb misunderstands that if you change the context of history, that is historical revisionism. But I regress. Then you suggest give the political control back to the indigenous land, and the people scream about there's not enough of them, all the land. It's like, yeah, all the land. What the fuck is their problem? If they want put control over land that's like culturally theirs, go back to Europe. That's what I say. Like, what? White people, man. What's so special about like the new world that they've got to occupy and control it over being able to take control over their own land in Europe, pan Europeanism as it would be. The Pat Sox have the exact same attitude as the settler fascists. Quote, it happened a long time ago, end quote. Yeah, and you know what? You get people like Caleb that say like it was a progressive for the time. Like he says about the 1862 Homestead Act, where he defends its existence and said it was necessary for the development of America. What the fuck? Maybe the development of America was not a good thing, Caleb, nor a progressive thing. This linear view of historical development is obviously bunked because things come from multiple causes and multiple effects, which means development cannot be strictly linear. It has a linearity to it, but that is not the whole picture, can never be the whole picture. Otherwise, neo feudalism wouldn't be such a prominent phenomena in the time of capitalist crisis. There is obviously a different nature to this process of socioeconomic development that is not just strictly linear. That would be it wouldn't be dialectical materialism to say it's strictly linear either. It would be way too vulgar materialist. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like it's looking at things from way too much of an absolution, and it's like you can't absolute history. It's like to say that communal society couldn't from the start reach the industrial development of capitalism. Like I think it would have happened quicker. Like and we wouldn't have needed to overproduce as much. We wouldn't have got sold too far. Like it wouldn't have been such a mess up like that. Oh, shut up, Hegelianism. Like, what the fuck? Like, we're not moralizing history. We're looking at the structures of history. Like, fucking, of course, the Hegelian would want to keep it strictly to an equation of opposites. Um, Hegelianism is a fraudulent, idealistic framework of dialectics that's fascist in nature. Nietzschean dialectics is strictly Hegelian, and pretty much every fascist is either a Nietzschean or a Hegelian in the way in which they operate as a dialectician. Moralizing history. That's such a petty bourgeois statement. Like, as if good and evil is just a pure moralization when you're looking at what is right and wrong. Like, this is more of a sense of like, how does principle come into the situation? Did we need to reduce so much oppression to develop society? No, we did not. We did not at all. That's it. You know what though? I can be just as funny. I can report the comment for terrorism. Owned. Oh, I've become red now. Uh, I hope I don't catch the Caleb Mopping curse. Um, so okay. No, you. Yeah. So I've dealt with it. What the fuck you? I mean, that fucking troll, quite interestingly, like, you know, as fascists do, came out here to be a disruptive little edge lord. And like all Hegelians, the fascistic minded little dickheads, and give me the perfect little swing to just slap Hegelianism on the top of the head. It's the ballpark game of fascists to pull their bullshit all the time, because their logic to dialectics is to look at it from an equation of opposites. They look at things from lesser of two evilism sort of mentality, strong above the weak. That's the way that their mentalities are driven. So they like to beat down in situations like this. They like to derail situations like this, and that was their aspect here. They wanted to derail the solidarity to our fallen comrades, because that's the sycophantic mentality that drives the petty bourgeois class consciousness of fascism. Because China, these people are always petty bourgeois. Like, not all fascists are petty bourgeois, but these people that are the big ringleaders is what I mean. Like, they're always petty bourgeois. All these big name, big ringleaders, they're petty bourgeois little shitheads. And they come to cause trouble. In a plaza mostly known for having a food city, aside from being an urban communist vanguard militia, the Lenin-Mao Communist Union was a Marxist book club dedicated to revolutionary science. When we started, we had 7 members. The one of us left the group, and then 2 more joined. That is how it stayed for 2 years. From then on, members would join and then leave until 2016, when the rest of the existence of the Lenin-Mao Communist Union. Um, we stayed at 15 members. On the September 19th, 2018, we put all our money together to rent out what became our headquarters. We all ended up losing our apartments except for one of us. Archdic Director Bradley Butch. When his lease was up, he too decided to do what we all did. That was to move into the headquarters. We all had to plan to get ourselves a house that would run as a commune house. Sadly, this never happened. We no longer have this headquarters, and I am currently in a hotel. I plan to leave the United States of America and never return very soon. The Lenin-Mao Communist Union was dedicated to world revolution. We always argued with the many different anarchist groups in Glendale. The anarcho-syndical family was special to the Lenin-Mao Communist Union because it was the most consistent anarchist group that applied with us. In fact, combined with the Bundes movement and ourselves, the Lenin-Mao Communist Union, we would assemble the strongest Antifa formation in Arizona. Unfortunately, during December 2018, the anarcho-syndical family was completely disbanded. This was when the AZ anarcho-punk bloc started to gain new membership that attracted a lot of frustrated anarchists who wanted to belong to a strong, non-hierarchical collective. The anarcho-punk bloc was more concerned with slandering both the Lenin-Mao Communist Union and the Bundes movement than it was with achieving anything of relevance. Chairman James Frankfurt, General Secretary Edward Phil, Archdirectory Bradley Butch, and myself, as the Minister of Information, together wrote a revolutionary communist union constitution. The member of Chairman James Frankfurt, General Secretary Edward Phil, and Archdirectory Bradley Butch destroyed the Lenin-Mao Communist Union. I almost became a Maoist third-worldist, and I almost decided to contact the leading light communist organization, the LLCO, and inform them of my. Sorry, it's so bright. The screen is. It's very small. The LLCO, and inform them of my intentions to join them. I started to think that I cannot be a revolution. That there cannot be a revolution in the first world. It's not really the position. It's that it won't happen first. People get convulsified with that. They get too absolutist, especially aristocrats and petty bourgeois types. They get way too absolutist with it. It's that it's not gonna happen here first. But I was a Marxist Leninist, not a Marxist Leninist Maoist. You know, remember the Lenin Maoist commune? Um, um, Being a member of the Lenin Mao Communist Union, I thought I knew everything there was to know about Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. but I was mistaken. I have met with most members of Panther Code. I have met with the World Liberation and Marxist-Leninist Maoist Action (MLMA). Um, and now I can truly say I know better. I am forever a Marxist-Leninist Maoist now. Revolutionary Communist Union Constitution. We, the Maoist Lenin and Mao Communist Union, hold to the revolutionary science of Marxism. We reject any sectarianism between Marxist-Leninists and Marxist-Leninist Maoists. Oh well, that's certainly a trend that's died out these days, hasn't it? I mean, we still work with them, but like most Marxist-Leninists who call themselves Marxist-Leninists are a bit whoa these days, aren't they? We got some good ones. We know some good ones. We work with good ones, but oh god, there's so much stink to that name these days, especially with the fucking dengists. Like Jesus Christ. Hey, hey, hey. We denounce capitalism and imperialism. We denounce fascism. We denounce neo Nazis and whiteness. Those who call themselves white must also denounce whiteness and consider themselves European. We recognize the descendants of the stolen African slaves forced onto the slave ships, their proletarian creed of blackness, and their notion of New Africa. We recognize the state of Arizona to be part of Mexico, and we stand with the revolutionary Mexicans against the capitalist Mexican state and the capitalist imperialist United States of America, KKKA. Um, we denounce non-violence as a mask for imperialism. We denounce so-called communist parties that run for office within the United States of America, KKKA. We denounce the Democratische Socialistische of America. Sorry, I had to do that to them because they are kind of like a bit. They're a bit. You know what I'm saying? Do I need to go any further? Um, as counter-revolutionary social democrats. It's been nice. We reject Maoism, third worldism. Fuck you. Sorry. Sock dems. Yeah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah, nah, yeah. Well, it's the same difference, really. I mean, yeah, enough said. Absolutely, absolutely. You know how it is, my G. But they denounce Marxism. They reject Maoism, third worldism, yet recognize their duty to stand with the Maoist third worldists to educate the masses on the evident global class divide. At least they like us a bit, or liked us a bit, because most of them have unfortunately passed away. But I wish they liked us more. The Phalange is calling itself Sock Them here for the sake of populism. The Phalange is really trying to kick itself into popularity again. It's doing the same in Spain, and in places like Morocco. Um, we reject anarchism, yet we recognize our duty to aid anarchists when the fascists attack them. We swear a duty to debate and argue with them respectfully. I see the Lenin-Mao Communist Union was such a loss because even though these people, I would say, were wrong on so many issues, but right on so many issues, they were right on more than they were wrong on, and they were so principled as communists when it came to discussion and learning and moving forward, and that's why I reckon a majority of them could have been turned into Maoists if we had the capacity to engage with them still, but unfortunately, these bastard fascists have taken that away from us. Only our phalanges discount neoliberal Zionist puppet party. Well, the rest of them are discount neoliberal Anglo puppet party, Anglo-Saxon puppet party, British, British, British. They control them for years, and like they basically use Gibraltar as their little outlet for that sort of business. The organization is an action seems spot on, even if the ideology is a bit shaky. Yeah, I would agree with that description. Social engine. I think you're right on with that. Then again, everything you fucking say seems to be right on point. You got the consensus absolutely spot on. Um, I like to see good use of dialectical materialism. It really does give a nice warmth because whenever you see it used well, it's used organically. Like most of my autistic comrades is where I usually see it really well because we're really organic with the way we use dialectics. It's beautiful because it's always off the cuff and it's not like decisively used. They're not having to go out their way to do it. It's just like natural flow with the go with the flow way a lot of us autists behave. Not all of us, but a lot of us autists behave. Um, Very naturally dialectical, and it's almost like something that's always been the way in which we operate. Because the left side overactive brain causes us to break things down to their finer components, like on autopilot, because it's the way our brain supplements it. It's why ADHD supplements itself for one, but also it's about the way that the brain is like constantly wanting to know how things function around it because of the over awareness of the left frontal lobe. Yo, that's me. And like, yay. Yeah, we're the one channel that's nice to autistic people because mostly YouTube just slanders. I if I remember rightly, like you can get demonetized for the word autism, but like there's an ableist word, like I can't remember what it is, but there's an ableist word that doesn't get you demonetized. I can't think of what it is. Um but saying autism will get you demonetized. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty confident I am autistic law. It would make a lot of sense, to be honest, coming from someone who normally detects a lot of people that are like it. I couldn't be conclusive yet because I don't know you well enough, but you're very analytical. But that's not entirely concisive. But the you're like in a very like off like it's a natural demeanor to you, like it's your baseline. Like when you engage with stuff, you're very like principled would be the best way to put it. I don't know, like I feel like I'm being really offensive to neurotypicals. I don't mean it in the way that I mean like it sounds like, but like the way that it comes, like most communists who wake up a communist and fall asleep a communist are very autistic in my experience. Like they're very core to their principles. Like if you look to the behaviors of Stalin, for example, and like the T posing and screaming he used to do when he was a kid, when he'd have hypersensitive overloads, and the way he would operate his body language, and the way his humor worked, the way he socially engaged, the way he wrote his works. Stalin's very autistic. It's not about good politics because there's just as many fascists who are autists as there are communists, but it's more so that we're very extreme and very bombastic in the way that we go about looking at things. So we're more likely to look at like the left and the right rather than the center. Yeah, Lenin makes sense. Lenin's rants are very autistic, especially as like the fact that like so left wing communism and infantile disorder is literally him going on a rage because the Nazbols of Germany pissed him off. Lenin's beautiful because he's so angry and angsty, and he's the guy who'll come up with class suicide, which is the one thing the petty bourgeoisie always try and hide. Yeah, we've been through this Nazbol thing before. Yeah, we've been through Nazbols before. This is like nothing new. And you know where the word ultra left comes from? Because it's quite funny who use it most today is the Nazbols. Ultra left was originally a statement used to attack Nazbols. Hey, Viva Vendetta. Hey. It's a fucking Scarface. Uh, One thing I need to check at some point is whether I've been blocked by George Galloway, because I got at George Galloway. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is the neo-McCarthyism being used against us," and I'm like, "Okay, George, but McCarthyism was a policy used against communists, and you're a third positionist. You even openly admitted to it when you said, in the words of Tony Blair, I am third way, when you were describing how much you think China's balance of capitalism and communism is your kind of socialism." I got him there. Got him. So I'm probably gonna get banned from George Galloway's Twitter, which is a medal of honor. Caleb banned me before I could do any funny comments on his thing. I don't know whether it's from like times I've commented on Haz or from when I tagged him on my YouTube videos and he's gone and clicked on my socials. I wonder if uh I'll get one of I'll end up getting his fucking slurry of morons join him. So not had any of his morons join my server yet. Like I'm surprised. Like I thought when I made the Discord server thing that like they'd just swarm it, but no. A little more respect than I expected from them. Caleb did an Israel on you. Well, I mean, sending in the sleeper agents, preemptive strike. Motherfucker's gonna like. Well, he did that with fucking Jason. Jason only made a criticism of like the decolonization narrative and wasn't even. Well, sorry, the decolonization narrative. Those who were against decolonization can't work on my words out properly. And then Caleb just decided to attack him. Like he didn't even direct anything at Caleb properly. He just said that like those who are against decolonization are talking shit, and Caleb started talking more shit, which just proved Jason right. Be careful of that Flame of Liberation guy as well. That motherfucker he's an American who calls himself a Baathist. So already a red alert. Like um Anglo Saxons calling themselves Baathists is cringe. And the guy also like aired so it was good of him to air an ex-veteran that wants to speak out against the problems of war. But it's a problem when that ex-veteran is an open fascist and works with Nazis. That is probably not the best of ideas. You might be platforming someone who might be trying to get some political power as a right winger because they work with Cultured Thug, who is an open Italian style fascist. Well, more of a Mussoliniite. Sorry, a Mosleyite. Sorry, similar names, similar fascism. Differences do exist. Mosley was the most articulate out of the 20th century fascists, which is terrifying. The Mosleyism is sort of the trend in fascism today. I mean, I didn't see anyone other than him posting a long video about the bath. So that Flame of Liberation guy, there's a video with this bald like veteran that he does a video on, and the veteran is an associate of Culture Thug, the fascist. Um, and the Flame of Liberation is close with Be Liberal and Caleb and all them lot. We denounce so called. Oh wait, sorry. Yeah. The capitalist man can step without the purpose. Reject anarchism. The fascists. We swear a duty to debate with more respect. Okay, there we go. We reject any and all attempts to influence the United States of America. Such a dangerous country must end before it destroys the world. We swear to undermine those who attempt to get young people to vote. Any and those uh, any and all attempts to reform the United States of America can only be seen as counter-revolutionary. Bang on, bang on. The United States of America has killed more Native Americans than Nazi Germany has killed Jews. We denounce anti-Semitism, both Judeophobia and Islamophobia. We denounce both Americanism and Zionism. We denounce first world nationalism. We denounce Holocaust denial and Holocaust revisionism. We denounce the historical revisionism that propagates the more innocent people that more innocent people died in the Union of Soviet Social Republics than in Nazi Germany. We denounce the mindless slandering of the Jewish Talmud. Um, we We denounce the mindless slandering of the Islamic Quran and Hadith. We denounce the new atheists and their unscientific imperialism. We denounce the populist demoralizing of atheists and agnostics. We denounce the populist Catholic control of of all governments. Yet we equally denounce the populist anti-Catholic movements. We denounce the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They are fascists. We denounce the populist reactionary Christocentric Satanists. We denounce the Department of Homeland Security. We denounce the National Security Agency. We denounce the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We denounce the Central Intelligence Agency as the remnant of classical Nazism. We denounce the police as a racist and capitalist class agency. We denounce the reactionary Trotskyist dogma that the police are working class. We stand against the purist version of Trotskyism, the Libya Consolidation Party. We denounce the dogmatism, so thus reserve the right to study the works of both Rosa Luxemburg and Leon Trotsky and even imply any of their theoretical notions as long as they have any material relevance. We denounce revisionism, thus we reject the forms of Trotskyism, the Romanizing of Leon Trotsky, and the blatant Eurocentricity of Leon Trotsky, which is inherent in all forms of Trotskyism. We will end the first world imperialist oppression upon the third world. We will engage in education and teach the revolutionary sciences of Marxism, Leninism, and Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. We will engage in class struggle, all struggles in fight to fight homophobia, racism, sexism, ableism, white supremacy, transphobia, transconformity, xenophobia, and cultural primary struggle must be class struggle. Without class struggle, there is no revolution. There is not revolution. All the struggle in America must be uplift. Uh, the poor blacks, the children of migrant workers, the exploited poor, regardless of ethnicity, and the lost, confused first world lumpen proletariat. Written like like written like the white paper bourgeois, but written with good love and care. These comrades were principled and were about the struggle and knew they needed to throw their love behind. The fifth position is probably not a good term to use either. No, probably not. Socialism is the second position, and communists need to stop excluding people from it because that's what allows fascists to manipulate people. Because they manipulate honest socialists that want to make themselves separate from it all. I mean, you could use it as a meme to be like to look at how bullshit a lot of like stuff goes on with politics, but like you know, if you're a socialist, you're in the second position because like there's no way that we can turn around and occupy that thing as ours. There's no We don't own socialism as Marxists, and it's disgusting that so many people think like that. I mean, we can discuss what is and isn't socialism on its core principles, because I mean, working class society, has always been sort of the idea, proletarian dictatorship. That's always been a core tenet of socialism. It's just how the different people go around it. That's the core part of it. Like we all want to make a working class society where it's a working workers ruled society. Well, actually, we want to get beyond that. We all want to make like a society where there's no class really. I mean, I say working class society. That's really the beginning of socialism because what a lot of people call socialism is what we call high stage communism. Socialism's end goal is the full blown whack bam. You wouldn't even bother calling people workers. People work to progress society because that's the right thing to do. And we all live in harmony. Like we all have what we need. We don't have to use money. Society is not overproducing. It's not over industrialized. It's not over engineering itself. It's just moving forward as it needs to be. Yeah, we all want everyone to be working class, and like Syndrome said, if everyone is working class, no one is. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I like that. I like that analogy. That's interesting. Because it gets to the whole like being anti superhero is sort of the right thing to do, well, depending on which way you go about it. But Syndrome was going about it in the way that would smash down the system. So I mean, how much of a villain is he really? Question mark. But hey, they were pro they were very pro lumpen. They had the whitest language for the for an anti-white militia. They were more ML-ish than they understood. Yeah, absolutely. Black M3W. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm reading your name again. But they did not. Sorry, they did agree with core MLM principles. That's why they found themselves aligned with the lumpen. But yeah, no, they were confused because of the Marxism Leninism seeping in and basically putting them into certain dogmatic footholds in their positions, mainly their whiteness and Eurocentricity themselves, but they were still very critical of it and were good comrades. They were they were principled comrades, and they risked their lives for the struggle. Like they're absolutely blessed brothers and sisters. So I have an idea. I struggle with reading, and it hurts my head a bit, but I can like because I still talk a lot anyway when I'm reading. I could copy and paste this into one of those because I know I have an app that's a really good, well, not an app, sorry, a website that's not a bad voice encoder, so I can just play it to you and pause and play it, and one of the voices on there will sound better than my horrible voice. So like it everything it's improved. There's some comments to talk about as well actually on here. I'll speak about them in a bit. Oh wait, no, these are screenshots. I thought they were comments on the post. Um, there is one comment. Um, oh, it was about knowing where Jared is. Oh shit. Copy. Um, okay. Paste. All right then. So I wonder if it still uses the same voice from last time. Let me get the bar up. Pronunciation. Sign up and log in. Continue with Google. Lumpen the world is. More knowledge of the organization could get me killed. I don't care. Ever since Unruh interviewed Net, I know I had to stay in Arizona, at least for now. God bless you, comrade. God bless you. They were concluding that the lumpen was the proletariat. They used to tell lumpen proletarians, "You are the proletariat." I mean, we're all workers, absolutely. And so, despite their language, they understood how essential the lumpen are. Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. I don't. I would not disagree there. Absolutely. Um. Where's the announcer thing? Oh, there it is. I'm blind. Sharon.
Hi, hi. I can read web pages or
Audrey.
hi. I can read web pages or documents for you.
Rachel.
pages or documents for you.
Lucy?
Hi, I can read web pages or documents. Hi, I can read web pages or documents for you.
That one of these sounds like someone's actually speaking in a mic, so I'll go for this one. If this becomes annoying, I'll change it, but this will be easier on me because I struggle with reading, so this will be easier on me because there's a hefty load to this, and I struggle really bad with it.
Drag and drop your files. Or type, paste.
Oh shit! I turned off my TV. I know what I'm doing. I meant to turn the volume down so I didn't echo, and I. Oh, it's got rid of my text. It started reading the whole. I was wondering why it was like saying the thing again. I thought maybe it was just at the top of the post, but no. There we go. Pasted that. Need to change my TV back to HDMI 1. Turn the volume down. Down to like 32. Let's play this and let's go.
Detailed information. Welcome to this third post for this blog. Welcome to this third post for this blog. It would be best to go over the first two posts of this blog.
Oh, it's a bit quick.
Arizona, Twilight Zone of America is the first post of this blog. Background information is the second post of this blog.
Wait, it's not posting my audio. One second. Why is my desktop audio not working? Do I not have this linked? Ah, shit. 1 second. I know what the problem is. Properties. DSG. Okay.
At the very least, detailed information. Welcome to this third post for this blog. It would be best to go over the first two posts of this blog. Arizona, the Twilight Zone of America is the first post of this blog. Background information is the second post of this blog. At the very least, I hope that the poor people learn that it is gun control that leads to more gun violence. I intend to give out detailed information in this post. Others are starting to openly talk about what is happening in Arizona. I am not alone. This is a post giving detailed information, and will end with a denunciation of liars. On the date of May the 27th, 2019, there was to be a special gay interfaith wedding at the Cosmopolitan Jewish Reconstructionist community of Phoenix, Arizona. Isaiah P. Kamet-Steen was the only Bundist who was a member of this synagogue. In fact, he was the rabbi. Larry Grand was the interfaith minister, or at least, that is what everyone believed. The testimonies given to Dr. Wiesfeld seem to suggest that Larry Grand was not who he said he was.
They call Dr. Wiesfeld Dr. Wiesfeld. Feld. So, what's it? Where are we?
The testimonies given to Dr. Wiesfeld seem to suggest that Larry Grand was not who he said he was. The most captivating factor in all of this is Bell Canyon Pavilions, a plaza. Bell Canyon Pavilions is vast and mostly remote in its space. Bell Canyon Pavilions has a reputation among the
I can make it Australian.
Bell Canyon Pavilions has a reputation among the poor for being a place where police can go to do business with Midnight Productions. Bell Canyon Pavilions has a reputation among the poor for being a place where police can go to do business with Midnight Productions. Synagogue members: Isaiah P. Kamet-Steen, Amy Park, Jenny aka Gray Wiseman, Malachi
Everyone
Richard
likes the
Bierens,
Australian accent, even when it's a
Mike Alous, David Cram.
Well, you prefer the robot woman? Because I mean, I can go back to the part. Okay. I could go I can go Espanol. What's it? Rosa.
David Krams, Susanna Fredericks, Michelle Fredericks, daughter of Susanna.
Oh no, it actually translated into Spanish. I didn't expect that. Okay, we can go like Lucy.
Randall Gold, Sarah Bauer, Michael Bauer, son of Sarah, Gabriel Bauer, son of Sarah, Gordon Fliss, Rachel Davis, Sophia Davis, daughter of
I think this one even
Sophia Davis,
well, you're
daughter
getting
of
about
Rachel.
it being more like memorial.
Anna
Like
Davis,
I think like this robot is even more towards it. It's like all posh. Yeah. I see you're on the same page. Absolutely.
Anna Davis, daughter of Rachel. Non-members: Maria Memsberg, Hannah Toff, Marvin Liahu, Uriadia, Linda Cold, Omar Hafez,
a bit quick.
Rana Hafez, Nasreen Sadiq, Elizabeth Tishine, Samantha Wilson, Larry Grand. At least 3 different individuals saw the entire incident on May 27, 2019, 2 of whom I have now spoken to. At least 3 different individuals saw the entire incident on May 27, 2019, 2 of whom I have now spoken to. Both have informed me of the events in detail separately. One of them I spoke to via Skype, the other I was invited to speak to in person at barber shop. Their accounts of what happened barely differ at all. Many others have come forward and given me information on what they saw. Few saw the incident as it started, they ran away in fear. Many saw the incident as it was getting more dramatic, witnessing this massacre to its conclusion. Both of the eyewitnesses were asked to watch the synagogue all day. This is because death threats had been made. Watching the place in hopes that nothing bad would happen, no one expected direct police participation. First, a black van drove up. This van did not park in a parking spot. Then 2 white vans arrived, also not parked in any parking spot. Out of both white vans came 12 white male cops. People came out of the nearby buildings, including Exhale Bikes, which is right next door to what was the synagogue. The people around started to laugh. One of the individuals coming out from Exhale Bikes allegedly said, "Kill them quickly." A cop is said to have responded with, "We will wash the place clean. Now go back inside." Out of the black van came Jared 88. Then he walked inside the synagogue. At least 7 different people inside the synagogue tried to rush out. In response, the cops made themselves into a barricade to keep them from running out. More onlookers that are known to work in the plaza come out to watch, several of them laughing. A cop was heard to yell, "You all need to back off. The less you see, the easier this will be." And the onlookers complied. The police seem to have been answering to Jared 88 throughout this entire incident. He was holding 2 Heckler & Koch HK2 guns, one in...
This never feels any you never get used to going through all of this. It always punches right in the gut when you go through this, of what all this happened, how it all was going down, how these people try and lie that the police are protectors, and it's like, look at what they do is they protect fascists doing massacres. That's what they do. And you every single time I hear about this, it breaks my heart. Like, it's this is a fucking wedding at a synagogue. Motherfuckers are laughing about it. People were just being massacred wantonly because they fight for socialism and they stand against fascism.
The police seem to have been answering to Jared 88 throughout this entire incident. He was holding 2 Heckler & Koch HK2 guns, one in each hand. The 2 guns would have looked like this. The cops covered all ends of the windows that could be seen with black blankets. Then shortly after the cops...
This is the first link that I posted in my description, so anyone who wants to look at the pictures, just go through that blog.
The cops covered all ends of the windows that could be seen with black blankets. Then shortly...
Oh shit.
A small police line perimeter is placed around the front of the back door of the cleared-out synagogue. The cops covered all ends of the windows that could be seen with black blankets. Then shortly after, the cops carried out bodies, throwing them into the white vans. According to 5 eyewitnesses that I have spoken with in detail, the words "those faggots are dead" could be heard from a person that came around to observe. Then more people came out to watch as the bodies were being thrown into the vans. Several of these people started laughing and pointing. A few of the cops kept saying "back inside," and "nothing to see here," and the onlookers mostly complied with this. The police start to seal off much of the area so no one can get too close. Several times you could hear one of the cops asking his fellow officer, "Is the cleanup crew here yet?" Most all parking quickly got closed off by a police line perimeter. After this, a blue car parked at the vacant Applebee's in the plaza.
Absolutely right.
Out of this car came Comrade Net Ben Shaw and Donna Newman.
No, absolutely right. Social tension is a fascist society, and we need to show our solidarity against the struggle of the system. And Arizona's not just the twilight zone of America because of it being so fascistic. It is the test bed. It is where they, Arizona's becoming the map for the rest of it. The Kenosha shooting was an example of behaviors from Arizona getting outside of Arizona. Knowing that you could shoot people up so long as you sided with the police and you would get away with it. That is the Kenosha shooting, and that is a behavior that comes straight from the Arizona mentality of how society is ran. How Jared 88 functions as an ally to the police system. Oh, I pressed the space bar like it would do something. Oh no, no. Why am I
Newman, you're not welcome here. Nothing happened. The police start to seal off much. Several of these people started laughing and pointing. A few of the cops kept saying "back inside," and "nothing to see here," and the onlookers most. Out of this car came Comrade Net Ben Shaw and Donna Newman. Cosmopolitan Jewish Reconstructionalist community of Phoenix, Arizona. At this point, the police closed off the entire parking lot of reserved guest parking. The back of the synagogue had people coming in and out before they set up a police line perimeter at the back door. At some point, 13 construction workers had showed up. Details from eyewitnesses on this differ, but most reports, when compared and contrasted, seem to suggest that the construction workers did not all arrive at once. The police and construction crew were walking in and out, using the back door of the synagogue, removing furniture, books, a Torah scroll, a menorah, a video camera, flowers and wine. The back door handle, which was copper-colored and curved, was ripped off by one of the construction workers. As Comrade Net Ben Shaw and Donna Newman get out of the blue car, a cop says, "Ms. Newman, you're not welcome here." Nothing happened. Comrade Net and Donna run closer to the synagogue, disregarding what the cop had said. Close up.
Well, if they changed their name, do you think that's because of us bringing it up in a more global fashion? No, I get what you're saying. Don't stress yourself. But do you think that they may have changed their name because of Jason's ousting and all that going on? Because I know Jason's like on their fucking hit list. At least. Well, I don't know that, but he's obviously pissed them off. So great stuff. Yeah, I know, but so it's a lot of weight, it's something I'm very, very proud of. My commitment to the people of Arizona is something I hold very much great pride over. I can't believe fucking it woke everyone up out, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 2020 was a slap in the face. 2021 as well was a big slap in the face too. Made the lumpen more bold. Well, because the shit that went down in 2019 was already solidifying boldness in the lumpen in Arizona, because they were the ones who saw that shit happen and weren't the ones who kept it themselves or laughed the lump proletariat, the ones who saw that shit, were like, "Whoa, no, that's nasty." And we're speaking with people about it. That's why we've even got certain accounts. Jason Unruh fails to realize how impactful he actually is. Absolutely. Um, he doesn't accept how impactful he actually is through and throughout. It's depressing to see because I mean, like, puts himself down too much and attacks himself too much because of all the ways he's attacked. But it's like, of course, you're going to get attacked when you're correct, but your correctness is what inspires so many people, what drives so many people's consciousness forward into active struggle. You know, class conscious lumper proletarians love Jason Unruh, love the content he does, because the class consciousness drives us to be socialized. When we get introduced to Jason Unruh, we're like, yeah, hell yeah, this punk rocker motherfucker knows. You know, the times when he engages with whiteness are kind of cringe, but that happens with a lot of people who are white. Happens with me, happens with everyone. Just happens with people who are in my situation a lot less. But nonetheless, we still do it. It's like, you know, Jason's problems happen there, sure, some of here and there, some of there, but when Jason is just, you know, Jason on the fly has a very good mentality that shows that his proletarian position as a worker, he has a very close sense of consciousness to lumpen proletarians like me, and he thinks very much like me. Every person who likes Unruh has said the same thing. Quote, he may be cringe sometimes, but goddamn is he right about everything, end quote. Yeah, you know, it kind of is like that. Like, you know, there's times where he can be wrong, but normally when he's wrong, it's like either cringe or like when he's being too nice to dengists and stuff like that. You know, because that was when I came into the org. I came into the org very much like this dengist thing needs to come to an end. Like, if you're not gonna believe me that they're a problem, I'll let them show themselves to be a problem. But I get railing off about how they're fascists, rages. It's like, don't look at the fact that they like lumpen, because that's not enough. If you're saying they like the lumpen proletariat or saying they like the lumpen, it's like, yeah, you know, like, um, that Mussolini used that bullshit. Don't mean anything. You know, a lot of these fascists are ex-Marxists or still call themselves Marxists. So like, you gotta look to the bigger picture of it all and look how they're operating. What is their core process moving forward? Because if they're looking to just manipulate us and they lump all the lumpen together, so proletariat, lumpen proletariat to them is also the lumpen petty bourgeois and bourgeoisie and all them lot. Like, it gets, they solidify themselves around this very class collaboratorial fascistic mindset and the way in which they're operating with the lumpen, rather than like a lot of good comrades like the Lenin-Mao Communist Union, where it's looking at like, okay, how do we get on the ground, get involved with the lumpen and organize around them, because they are the most conscious form of the proletariat in the first world. It's very important. Um, but yeah, when I became line holder, like that was when sort of like we started getting a real like crackdown on the problems with, you know, being too nice to dengists. I didn't even get to Caleb before Caleb split from us. Like, you know, I was going to I was gonna have like Caleb cut off from anyway. Like, that was my next thing after we had dealt with what's it? I was dealing with the Gillis stuff, and I was kicking off my channel and doing Palestine stuff because, you know, it's more important than Mr. Moppin. But what's it? I, you know, getting rid of Moppin was my next focus, and Moppin got rid of himself by attacking Jason. So, you know, it's funny that. And here's the thing to really consider. I said this in the other two streams, I do believe. Caleb Moppin knew Jason for years. Knew Jason while this massacre happened and did not bring it up. Not enlighten the world to it. Couldn't give a shit. Like, didn't mention it in his streams. He didn't fucking go on, like, RT and mention, yeah, there's a massacre being covered up in Arizona. No, he just doubted its existence. That's all he did. Sorry, I had a moment then. Lost where I was. Um, um, Gotta go for a little bit, at least, comrades, but solidarity and respect to the fallen comrades. Red salute, comrade. I was gonna get the guy, Jason Amrose merely on PC, even says so. So, give the guy a break. He is principled. He is, yes. What is that Skype? Is Comrade Net ringing me while I'm streaming? I don't know why. Maybe because I zoned out and it's trying to make sure I'm not falling asleep. Yeah, absolute solidarity. Um, it is it's apparent that like because my medication, I'm running low on energy. So I'm gonna just rather than try and sit through these articles because of their yes, net he's behind everything you see. But the I'm losing consciousness a bit, so rather than going over these articles today, I will go over these articles over the next couple of days. I don't want to abandon my duty on this, but instead, for the next 20 minutes to an hour, I'm gonna talk about the importance of solidarity to communist struggles and socialist struggles and our different comrades, and still make this a good tribute stream despite the fact that because I'm zoning out and stuff like that. I don't want to ruin it by, because if I start playing this, it will be enough disparity that I'll end up passing out, and I ain't got enough energy to read it instead of listening to it. So, um, where's my lighter? There it is. Oh, thanks to hear that. I mean, what's it? I speak highly of Net. Net's a good comrade. I learn a lot from him. It's good to have engagement with uh uh lumpen brothers of struggle, whether they're lumpen proles or lumpen aristocrats. Both have a great position to play in the struggle, and a lot of lumpen aristocrats who are revolutionaries like to seek proletarianization. They like to seek being in the lumpen proletariat. Net is very much like that. He wants to be rekindled with his lumpen proletarian position. He finds himself alienated, and that is the struggle. That is the struggle of like our comrades on the street who are good lumpen aristocrats. I find it interesting because it's like, what's it? I mean, no one. I mean, like I am the line holder, so I have power to override, and I've rarely ever used that power exertively, and normally I do everything I can to avoid it in the first place. If I ever set like a decree, it's normally like we must support Palestine, we must not support China, like things like that. Because I find that's more important than me, like, you know, vetoing. Like, vetoing is more of an extreme. Like, I could have vetoed the ability of Jason to go in that debate. He could have overridden me and just done it, but like I could have turned around and said, no, as a line holder, I think no, don't do it. Um, but um, vetoing is more of something that should be saved for more critical stuff. And it's like with the debate thing with Caleb, I will say this because I mean it's a good thing to get out there. It's that Jason. So Jason, when I was advising him about like what to do, I said two options: tell him to go fuck himself because he had a chance to debate you a year ago and he didn't, and wants to settle things now because it's getting too bad for his image. Um, So you either tell them to fuck off, you have, what's it? You go on there and just don't bother trying to win. It's never gonna happen. Try and show him up for what he is. Let him show himself. That's what happens. Though, if you have to sleep, though, I understand. We have not gotten that far yet because the first thing that we read was not related to that, and when does this one get into it? Because I can get to that bit itself, maybe June the 8th. Okay, so if I press play, I'll go from the
Close
June the
up.
8th point.
On the date of June the 8th, 2019, during the time of 9:45 a.m., Jared 88 walked through the door and yelled, "Edward, you wog fucker," and shot him in the head with a rugged American gun. I know that gun because it just happens to have been General Secretary Edward Phil's favorite gun. The gun looks like this. I could see
Pictures on
Jared
the
88 from the
article.
back, and I quickly ran into the next room where two of my comrades was. Arch Director Bradley Butch and another comrade of mine. I quietly told her to text message all other comrades telling them not to come to headquarters until I give them the approval to do so. We turned off the light in the office room we were in. I cracked the door and I saw two white Glendale police officers walk towards Jared 88. The door to General Secretary Edward Phil's office room was wide open and you could see him sitting dead on his chair with a bullet in his head. Just then Chairman James Frankfurt came with the McDonald's food. I asked my comrade, "You did text the chairman, right?" And she said no. Oh fuck. We could hear one of the cops say, "You're dead, commie faggot." And you could hear a gunshot. Then in anger Arch Director Bradley Butch ran out of the room the three of us were hiding in. He body slammed the two cops and Jared 88. They slowly began to get up and one of the cops stood up with his gun in hand and pointed it at the bottom of Bradley's jaw and then shot and killed him, saying, "Shit, you a big fucking faggot." The blood ran down the floor as he fell and his brains oozed out of his skull. I was very angry, but I knew that if I did as Bradley had just done, we would die too. So instead I then took my comrade by the hand and we both ran out the back door. In the hallway you could see Arch Director Bradley Butch laying in a pool of his own blood, and at the front doorway you could also see Chairman James Frankfurt laying in his own blood. We ran out the back door. The cops chased us, but the neighborhood back there is very close, and as I said, we were close to the Mexicans. We made it to my comrade's house and she texted the other comrades to meet her at our house, and I told them it would be safest if the Lenin-Mao Communist Union disbanded right there and then. So we did. I have never returned to the headquarters, and I will not be returning to the headquarters of the Lenin-Mao Communist Union. I plan to leave the country very soon. Now I will give my denunciation of the lies. On the date of August the 20th, 2019, Jason Unruh uploaded a special video on his YouTube channel titled "A Message to the Anarchists." In this video he gave a shout-out to Gabe Broshevic and myself. To be clear about this, I have now for some time combated the Nazis and Strasserists in his comment section, as has Gabe Broshevic, hence why we were the ones who had gotten the shout-outs. In this screenshot you can see a reactionary person with a Strasserist icon write something. Now I admit that I have always found anarchists to be somewhat annoying, but I will stand with an anarchist against fascism, no question about this. To compare anarchists to liberals is seriously gross and insulting to anyone who is revolutionary. So I made the mistake of commenting on this threat. As a result of commenting on this threat, I end up with harassment from someone calling himself Glassno 444, according to ComradeNet. Glassno 444 is insinuating in this thread that I staged the existences of ComradeNet Benya Shaw, Donna Newman, Dr. Abraham Weisfeld, their 5 murdered comrades and the Lenin-Mao Communist Union, along with our 3 dead comrades, that I am a lone Jew making propaganda. I wish I had not told Glassno 444 to read up on me. I did not realize that he would make accusations like this. People were murdered and it is hard enough to get the word out on this. I hate how much white people claim to be victims while they kill so many of us. Colonial settlerism is getting more and more exposed for what it is, and as a result the white working class panics, and rightfully so. Next we have Logan. I told him off his naysaying, as it seems he was terrified of the prospect of communist-anarchist unity against fascism. The so-called attempt by James Hart Stern to take control of the National Socialist movement is an obvious joke and most likely a soap weaponized to keep Jews and blacks from cooperating. I can recall when the NSM YouTube channel was showing solidarity with blacks, while at the same time their stupid YouTube channel linked to their website which had anti-black propaganda in it. Learn about SEOP, and to most Arabs like myself it is obvious that neo-Nazis do a lot of SEOPs. Logan accuses me of voting up my own comments, as if I had time for any of that shit. I am much too busy for that. What he does not want to admit is that every statement I make on YouTube, especially anything I say in the comment section of Jason Unruh, is correct. So naturally people have been known to like what I say. Just who does this little dirty piece of shit think he is fooling?
Yeah, be liberal caused so much problems for Comrade Net and his family, like a right little piece of shit that he is.
Just who does this little dirty piece of shit think he is fooling by pretending that...
And then he tries to pull all this shit on his Twitter, and his YouTube channel, where he's trying to say, like, you know, Jason's fallen, I'm the only one who can save MRM from his new affiliates and all that stuff. Fuck off, man. Fucking Dengist scumbags always trying to push their shit. Jason's done with that shit. He ain't siding with Dengists. We know what Dengists are. We know that they're fascists. We're not gonna be fooled by their bullshit. You know, we're done with dealing with that crap.
Just who does this little dirty piece of shit think he is fooling by pretending that neo-Nazis are not ridiculously numerous in Arizona? Does this little imitation of life actually expect anyone to ignore the countless reports done on the neo-Nazi marches in Arizona? It truly angers me when a tool calls me a tool. I finally ended up resorting to insulting him back. I hate how much creatures like this go to any...
Yeah, and that. Me, Luke, Falcone, and Nat scare this motherfucker because he's a little, he's a little petty bourgeois, fucking scumbag who pushes fascism under the guise of communism, and Maoists always scare these types because they can't stand, their arguments can't stand on their own 2 feet, and Maoists are incredibly dialectical with the way we come about it, especially us autistic Maoists.
I hate how much creatures like this go to any trouble at all to spew out the shit coming out the anus mouths on their faces.
Yeah, Pakirao is reactionary terms are very commonly used with the way that they write. They write white, as I said, but I wish I sorry, I can't English very well. I wish I had the energy to do more and go on for a couple more hours with those comrades, but it's called Red Syrian on the streets. Yeah. I know the full spick and span when it comes to Pacquiao. I know Pacquiao quite well, but so I finished this article. I would like to keep this going on for a couple of more hours. The next article that is to be done is one that is not in the description yet. So if I do this, hopefully tomorrow, or the next day, you can't spoil it for yourselves. I've held off that article from the description. It wasn't an intentional thing, but that's been sort of an accidental win there, so I don't spoil it. But because I don't, if I try and read this next article, I'm gonna pass out on you, and that's not gonna be good for this tribute stream. Fortunately, this still is a mighty 2-hour stream. I know it doesn't sound mighty compared to my other ones, but this is a mighty, it's digestible enough in size, but also big enough in size that it's showing the solidarity. It is hard to read sometimes, as I know so many of these people myself. It's a lot of lumpen comrades on the street struggle with reading. That's why I want to help with audiobooks and stuff. get them a lot of different materials to read on the streets that are just recorded onto compact cassette. "2 hours is better than 3 or 1." Yeah, it's like right in that nice sweet spot where it's like, because when you get to a 1 hour thing, it always goes so quickly. But when you go to a 3 hour one, it takes too long. And I could do another 2 hour stream tomorrow probably because I know I always take piss to do everything. And hopefully I'll have a less dry throat, so I'll be able to read. Because it's not just my head that's hurting, that's the problem. My throat's bone dry because of my opiates and my pain injury. But, I don't take them as much as I'm supposed to. So if I do it, if I try and get it either at the right time of day or I don't take them tomorrow, I should be able to hit a sweet spot where I can, be less tired and have a better working throat. But I will say that, this is absolutely paramount and important. The sacrifice that these communists did for the people of struggle, for the Bundists, for the Demarchists, for their other communist comrades, and socialism on a whole, is undeniably a conscious action of the proletariat consciousness being instilled onto petty bourgeois elements. Yeah, they were petty bourgeois in element, but in essence, they operated on the basis of the proletariat. Um, these struggles are paramount to us understanding wider struggles, the history of struggle. There is a massive history to these struggles that have gone on and these massacres that have gone on. A massive, massive history that goes back. And if we're to really be looking at it from the dialectical materialist lens, we got to look at it from the historical materialist lens and look at the tie of things like anti-Semitic massacres and anti-Native American and anti-African massacres in America. Look to the history of it. Look to the European history of these trends and tendencies, and map out, Wagwan. Um, you know, it's mad things. So before my eyes start getting too heavy again, brothers and sisters, I do apologize for my rustiness. I should be much more prepared for a situation like this, but what's it? There's no excuse for it, but my family has been a bit up, and I've not been the best in health wise. So. All right then. Sorry, I told you I will end up clocking out. Um, Thank you, Comrade Net, for waking me up. Um, Red salute, brothers and sisters. Please remember our fallen comrades, and please support the fight against Nazism. We cannot let fascism rise again and take power across the globe, as it already has power in the institutions of society. It has power through the service agencies, and they dominate the academic spheres. You can hear your net. Love and solidarity. Love and solidarity, brothers and sisters. Love and solidarity. And red salute to you all. Get good rest and stay easy. And either tomorrow or hopefully tomorrow, but if not Friday, we will get this next fucking stream on the go. The only thing that might get in the way of it tomorrow is I got to interface with a lumpen brother, but we'll see how it goes. But I should be free. But red salute, brothers and sisters, and I'll catch you in the next video, my comrades, my brothers and sisters. Stay true, stay true, stay true, stay strong, and all power to the people. Lumpen proletariat of the world and proletariat of the world. We stand together and we unite. Class suicide for the other classes to side with our struggles. And this will be the future forward. Revolution is the trend of this century, people. That is the case. And I guarantee that this will be the century where the capitalism destroys the world, or we destroy capitalism. Red salute, brothers and sisters. Lumpen and Black unite, Jewish too, absolutely. M3W Justice Cadre knows what it is, knows how to say it, knows how to drop it. Respect and all for that red revolution, brothers and sisters.